This is Never Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag here in the mini cave. Gonna try this one more time. You know, it's still a work in progress. I see some changes I'm gonna be making over the weekend, but we're gonna get this party started right. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully, if you're new to the show, make sure you let us know. But if you're on, hit that like button. It's just under the video. Hit that like. Make sure you share it with your friends. Spread the word to Cowboys Nation, really sports fans, because Monday you're going to see. We're going to be doing, of course, you got to do some Cowboys if I'm on this show, but we're going to be mixing in some other sports, and that's where Jimmy comes in as the expert. So, Jimmy D,
Thank you.
how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. First of all, I love the mini cave. I'm digging it. But I'm feeling great. I go to the doctors for my physical the other day. He says, Jimmy D, you're a finely tuned athletic machine. So made me happy. But then he says, flip over and slip him down. This won't hurt much. Gives me the old, how's your father? Then he says, you know what, you're getting a little old. You need to go for the colonoscopy. So now I'm scared to death. So I need some advice from some of our viewers out there and tell me what the hell I'm in store for.
Well, I ain't there yet, so I'm not giving no advice. So I can't help you. I can't help you with that one. But no, but back to the mini cave it's getting there. I like it because I could set everything up and I could leave it in this room. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I got a lot of stuff going on. Plus, your boy, I got to drop a cameo. I got a request today. Got a lot of Cowboy Nation's been giving me some requests to try and pump them up a little bit. They've been down with the Super Bowl coming. Do you watch it? Do you don't? All this kind of stuff. So we're going to get people hyped. We're going to get them. We're going to keep them motivated through the draft, through the training camp, and then back into the season. We get this party started all over again, just like 31 other teams. We're just going to be worried about next year. So we'll see what happens.
You know what? Ultra Cowboy brought up a good point. I can ask Uncle Cheech his thoughts.
That's true.
On the corner. That's you see what we got the smartest viewers watch this show.
Well, we're going to we'll definitely have to ask him. I have a feeling he might be a expert in that field. Been doing it a long time. So let's get into it, and then we're going to bring Uncle Cheech in a little bit early because we've got our Super Bowl preview. And then we're going to get into some Cowboy talk. We're going to get into a little NBA. We get, I know Kyrie Irving's been a big topic, especially around Dallas. So we're going to touch on a few other subjects. But let's talk about this Super Bowl, Jimmy. Are you excited? Is there any hype with it, or it's been real quiet? I mean, this is the week that it starts, but I got to say it's been pretty quiet on the front.
No, and the thing is, first of all, I think pretty much everyone here can't stand Philadelphia in the first place. But I think you're right. There's not that sense of hype or anything. Usually that's when it's starting. You feel it now. You're like, all hype. I'm not feeling it. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see what Uncle Cheech's analysis is going to be on the game. But looking at the matchup, obviously – Philadelphia, man, breaks my heart, and it really pains me to say it. They've been the most consistent team in the NFC. You can't, no two ways about it. Got to give credit where credit is due. Kansas City has been pretty much the dominant team. I mean, Cincinnati had the little, they went on a good run there, but I mean, it's really been Kansas City and Philadelphia have been the two teams. Now, what I'm hoping for is about what Ultra Cowboys said is, hoping that Kansas City comes in here and lights them up. They were a little banged up, so you don't know how that's going to be. Philadelphia's got a ferocious front seven, getting a lot of sacks. So hopefully the Kansas City offensive line can hold up. But I believe this is the best matchup for everyone who wants to see Philly lose. this is your best chance. I don't think Cincinnati was going to get it done with that offensive line. I think Philadelphia was going to have a field day. So it's going to be a matchup to see how their defense, what they can do against Kansas City and Pat Mahomes, really, because
Right.
he's the engine, him and Kelsey.
Well, and you know what? I'll start by saying, and we've said it a few times. I think Ultra Cowboys talking about it last week. Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, there's a level of consistency there that I'm not seeing. He's had some big games, but I mean, look at he basically was a field manager in the NFC in the conference game. Okay, against
Yeah.
a team that was down to their third string quarterback. That should have been a quick blowout. It was a slow burn until the
Yeah.
score got run up.
No,
So
and it's fair. And I mean, we can go through who they played and who they've beaten and the lack of. I mean, they had the best. You hate to say it because they get really offended when you say it, but you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't have scripted an easier path to the Super Bowl than what they've gotten. But you
right.
got to give credit where credit's due. You play who's in front of you. They've beat who's in front of them. Jalen Hurts has only lost one game all year. I mean, the other games they lost, they had their backup in there. So, these guys are professionals.
Yeah.
You can't take much away from them. But this is going to be probably, obviously they're probably the best team that they've faced full healthy. Our offense, when healthy, dropped 40 on their defense. So I know that it can happen. Now, Kansas City, their offense, I mean, everything is Mahomes and Kelsey. The receivers are, they're okay. They don't have any dynamic receivers that are
No.
going to just set the world on fire. Their running game is okay. I mean, it's kind of like by committee. So they don't have, it's Kelsey. Kelsey's going to drive it.
Yeah.
He's driving it from the receiver standpoint. And like Ultra said, their linebackers, Eagles, if there's some weaknesses in between there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up Kelsey, if they're going to really blanket him to make him, take him out of the game and force Mahomes to beat him with the other guys and see what happens.
Hardman isn't playing. I know he was kind of a safety net here and there for Mahomes. That guy had 6 touchdowns this past season. So, but like you said, it's all Kelsey. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, and when I say faith, I can care less. I want him to lose. I just don't have any faith in Jalen Hurts going up against Kansas. I don't see it happening. Sorry. People can call me crazy, but hey,
I like. I mean, he's an Eagle, so it's hard to like him. But I mean, his story's great. I mean, Alabama and all of that, and I had to go to Oklahoma, and transfer and stuff. He's always been a stand-up guy. So I wish he was on a different team because I'd probably be rooting for him in something like this. I usually root for the underdog, so it's hard to root. I got to root for the Chiefs. I can't have the Eagles win. I got to have them go 1-3 in Super Bowls. I gotta enjoy myself. Or what are they? They lost. Who'd they lose to? They lost to the Patriots. They lost to the Raiders. Did they lose one? Then they lose to the Chiefs. So that'd be 1-3. Okay, I got it right. I want to make sure I didn't clip them more Super Bowls that they don't deserve. 1-3 would be great because it would be, Kelly and I talked about a Thursday show. We've been getting ambushed by Eagle fans. Run their mouth, da-da-da. And all that matters, I mean, if you go by social media, all that matters is Super Bowl championship. So if you don't win the Super Bowl championship, then you guys were the biggest choke artists there were because they had the easiest path to the Super Bowl. They were able to rest their guys because it was so easy in the NFC Championship game. They're fully healthy. Kansas City's banged up. Kansas City had a dogfight. So it's going to, I mean, there's no excuse that they can use to why they lose the Super Bowl if they lose it. So it's going to be payback, and it's going to be relentless. Call us haters, call you whatever you want. We get it. So now it's about time to shove it back in their throat if they don't win. Now, if they win, we all got to shut up, and we got to take the medicine for a year. I don't want it to happen, but, hopefully it does.
Well, but that's the thing. If they start chirping, you know what you tell you? Shut up! You better shut up. Going to break in half. And you know what, though? You're right. Unfortunately, we're going to have to give him kudos if that happens, but it ain't going to happen. Although I'm the same guy who said it was going to be the 49ers and Bengals playing in the Super Bowl. So what do I know?
Oh, well, our man Steve, he had hernia surgery. I hope he's all right. He's on the IR. He's going to be ready for minicamp. That means you got a lot of time at home in front of your TV, your phone, computer, whatever it is. You make sure you check out the shows on live Monday nights Thursday night.
Yes.
Sprinkle a little bit in between. We've got some draft stuff that we're going to do, and I was hoping that I was going to get my Bijan Robinson from Ultra Cowboy because he did not. He was talking about someone else in the chat. I was trying to find it. I was talking to one of our draft gurus, and he is salivating over Robinson. Doesn't believe he's going to make it to 26, but he said if Dallas can get them, it'd be a dream come true for that offense. So I had to watch a little film on him. Like I said, I'm an SEC ACC guy, so I don't get a lot with the other teams. So I was hoping he was going to be hyping him up, but he didn't. Now he's on Drew Sanders. So, you got to move around a little bit. I get it. We got it. We'll figure it out. But we're going to talk a lot of draft coming up. We're going to have the guru breaking down positions, talking about, maybe the Cowboys pick. I said, we got, Jimmy D. We got some Falcons here. So we got to show a little love to Jimmy D. So he's going to break a lot of stuff down for us. We'll have different guests coming in over the summer. So it'll be a light and load because of sports, but we're going to bring in some stuff. We're going to branch off, like I said, into NBA, baseball be coming up. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to go over, but it's going to be a fun summer to get you ready for the NFL season after the Super Bowl, of course.
Absolutely. And there's plenty of content. Like you said, some hockey, some basketball, baseball, maybe some wrestling, professional wrestling. We'll talk, we're going to talk about that. And Steve, definitely feel better, man. Glad to hear it went well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's bring in Uncle Cheech a little early because Jimmy has a medical question that he's got to figure out. Yes. And then we want to get his Super Bowl. This is where you put the money on the line. You get out to Vegas because if Uncle Cheech, I don't know what his Super Bowl record is. I want to say it's like 52-5 or 52-4, some crazy number. This man makes a living on Super Bowls. So we need to bring Uncle Cheech in to drop some knowledge on people, the expert, the Super Bowl expert. What do we got going on, Uncle Cheech? You got to fix your camera a little bit. I can barely see you. What's happening, Uncle Cheech?
How you doing, guys?
Uncle Cheech, how's it going?
We're doing good.
Before we get to the...
wait, for Jimmy has a medical question before we get started. I don't know if you heard the early show, so he's got something to ask you, and then we want to get into this Super Bowl because I know you've been breaking down the film, you've been running all the numbers, and you got something to say.
So before we get to money-making activities, the doctor last week, after saying that I'm a finely tuned athletic machine, said, Jimmy D, you're getting to that age, you got to get the colonoscopy. So now I'm scared to death. And some of our, some of the Ultra Cowboy, and they said Uncle Cheech would know. So you got to tell me, what am I in store for when I got to do this?
Cheech don't know. They ain't doing that to me.
They ain't gonna jam?
Really?
Really?
You see, I thought for sure you'd be able to help me out with this one.
Can't help you, son.
All right. Well, all right. Hey, you've helped me win a lot of money.
Up there now for medical purposes.
Ain't nobody doing that to me, boy.
Well, you know what? If you can't help me with the medical advice, at least you'll help me win some money to pay the copay and deductible.
I will.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this Super Bowl. Give us your initial thoughts when you're looking at this matchup. What are you seeing? Some keys. What have you been studying before you make your very important
studying? I'm just going to tell you, Nicky Pagano, Big Louis Bastone, a.k.a. Bachagaloo, came over this week. We talked about the game. They came down on from Jersey business. We got a little gabagool, fresh mozzarella, fried peppers. We're talking about the game, a little N and Z. And Nicky, he lost a couple bucks on the game last week. We were talking about the officiating, this and that, so on and so forth. But he brought a point up to me I didn't know. He said Andy Reid is 6-0. When he was with the Eagles, he was 3-0 against the Chiefs. When he was with the Chiefs, he's 3-0 against the Eagles. So that tells me I'm going to take Kansas City and get to 1.5. I'll give you my pick right now.
Oh, you're not even going to waste no time. The man is taking the Chiefs. I've never heard that inside information about Andy Reid. That's pretty interesting. So you're saying he's going to go 7-0 in that scenario. So what is it about, what do you see with the Chiefs, or what are you seeing with the Eagles? I mean, why would you? I mean, that stat, take that
Well,
away.
I think the Chiefs got the better quarterback.
Better quarterback.
I think they got the better coach. They've been there, done that. Andy Reid, he's probably one of the best in the league. Now, as far as their injuries, I'm not really updated on that. That could make a difference, but I like the Chiefs. I think they'll take care of it.
They're gonna have.
I don't think the Eagles have seen an offense like they're going to show all
Now,
year.
I got to ask you a question because he's a Paisan. I'm a Paisan, but the coach for the Eagles, Nick Sirianni. I just want. He just has that look on his face and attitude. I just want to knock his teeth out. But I mean, what do you look at him? I mean, you have no soft spot for the Paisan on the Eagles, or what's your feeling on him?
Let me tell you, if I got to make money, I don't have a soft spot for anybody.
It's nothing
point.
personal.
All that goes out the window. Business, not personal.
Got a good point.
No, I mean, it's true. It's
You got
true.
it.
All I know is I'm getting prepared for my Super Bowl extravaganza. Put on my Uncle Cheech. I got Vinny Smaldone. I got Carmenucci coming with Angeline. I got Alexandra. I got who the hell else is coming? Miguelina. Debbie. I know where she came from. And then I got my token non-Italian, Bertha Schwartz.
Very nice.
Be there. And it wouldn't be a party without Marie LaBeiche,
Oh,
the headliner.
Oh,
You know, I tell you
you
what
gotta
she did
get heat up
last
that
year?
jacuzzi when she gets there.
I got to tell you what she did last year. This is embarrassing. We're all in the hot tub and everything, watching the game, have a little NZ here and there. And here comes Marie LaBeiche in one of them string bikinis,
Oh,
jumping in the hot tub. I had to grease my HOA president so I wouldn't get a letter of reprimand. Never seen nothing like it in my life.
but by the sounds of this party, it sounds like a lot of people are coming.
Oh, everybody.
You know what I'm saying?
We got lasagna, chicken cacciatore, aiulia. Nice big antipasto to start things off. We got the wine. We got the anisette.
you got a nice spread there.
We got the calamari salad. We got everything.
Well,
That's
when
great.
Dallas is in the Super Bowl next season, I expect the Uncle Cheech to host the biggest Cowboys Nation party and make sure that thing's hopping.
Oh, we will. If you get there.
Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get there. Now, more importantly, I know we got a lot of gamblers. I don't want to call them degenerates, but what was your thoughts on the Pro Bowl? Did you put some money on the Pro Bowl games?
I didn't watch that crap. To be honest with you, I didn't watch.
You didn't watch a single minute of it.
You know what I did watch was 30 for 30. They had about the Baltimore Ravens
Yes.
with Siragusa, and nobody gave them much of a chance either.
Right.
No.
And as Ray Lewis said, the Giants never scored an offensive touchdown. The touchdown they did score was on a run back kickoff.
Yep. No, it's true.
Yeah.
No, they were
Where they
fierce.
beat them 37-0 or 37-7.
Yeah, that was in Tampa. That was in Tampa.
And nobody gave him a chance.
Yeah. No, it's good. No.
If you didn't see it, very interesting show. Siragusa really he wanted to kill Phil Simms.
Did I tell you the story about Jimmy? I don't know if you know the story about Siragusa. So it was when the Cowboys were playing in Tampa. I went to the game, and we went to the hotel to get autographs. Got autographs, players and stuff, meet players or whatever. And Tony Siragusa was standing down the curb. We were standing up on the curb, and we were still looking up at him. And my brother was trying to get a helmet signed by him, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Siragusa, you sign my helmet?" He goes, "I'm not signing that shit. Get out of here!" And I thought he was joking. So we're laughing. He goes, "How the hell do you expect me to sign something with that thing on your leg?" Well, my brother has a Penn State tattoo, and Siragusa went to Pitt. and he was not signing for anybody. They stood his ground. It was he was signing for everyone else and talking to him. He was funny about it, but he stood his ground. He said, "I'm not signing nothing."
Oh, he's funny as hell on it. 30 for 30. If you catch
Yeah,
what's on
yeah.
this weekend, and I ain't gonna watch no flag football. I can watch kids if I want to see that.
No,
They give you a better game.
yeah.
Now, you see, I think Uncle Cheech, I did want to bring up something because I think you breaking news from Uncle Cheech last week that was reinforced by Arian Foster this week about scripted, the NFL being scripted. Did you see that last week? So I think you broke the news about it. Who's going to be hurt this week? Who's not playing that week? Who's going to win?
I told you. The one thing I'm disappointed with Sean Payton. Remember, I told you my insiders let me down. I'm gonna have to economically terminate them for giving me bad information.
Yeah, they're going to Denver.
Ain't gonna do no good. They got no draft picks.
No.
This contract will be up by the time they draft somebody.
Sean Payton already.
You got to bring in free agents, crippled old guys that nobody wants. I think he's got a big chore ahead of him.
Yeah.
Well, he's already made it quite clear to Russell Wilson that he's got his little core of quarterback coaches, like his own little crew. Sean Payton said, "It's not happening on my watch."
Yeah.
He already told him.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, they're paying him a lot of money, which is so he's going to expect results, and Sean Payton demands that, so he should get that respect, and we'll see what happens. But cool. Well, we're going to touch on the Pro Bowl a little bit, Uncle Cheech. We wanted to check in with it. We got to figure out that
this ought to be. This is a pretty evenly matched. Point and a half isn't much.
No.
Pretty evenly matched game. It should be entertaining.
No, I'm looking.
I know it's going to be entertaining in my house. We got the Brazilian bass coming.
Yeah, it's going to be more entertaining watching the beatdown too. On top of that, I'll be icing the king of Kansas City can handle that business. So, well, good, Uncle Cheech. We will see you for next week. We're going to have a little Super Bowl recap. We're going to get you on. You heard it, the man say, take Kansas City. He had that inside information. He had a stat that I haven't heard ESPN, NFL Network. You're going to hear him talk about it tonight. No doubt about it. They're going to be talking about all that tonight. They'll be talking about, hey, this unique stat that they dug up about Andy Reid. They're going to be not give Uncle Cheech no credit, of course. So you guys make sure you follow his lead because what's your record in Super Bowl picks? I mean, it's unbelievable.
About 65%.
Oh, I thought it was better than that. I thought you were like 52-5.
Yeah, the spread always beats you every time. But this is so close. It's like a push, point and a half. But a point and a half could do you in two.
No, absolutely. So we're going to check back with you next week. We appreciate it, Uncle Cheech. We'll be talking to you soon. Okay. And enjoy that Super Bowl. Enjoy the party.
Right. Grazie mille.
Take care, boys.
Zio Cheech.
Right.
Hey, if I'm not back next week, Maria must have done me in.
Yeah, don't pull the blue on us. I don't want us to be going to your funeral. I'm not going to be singing at it. So make sure you're all right. We need to see you next week. We'll see you.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man, he's crazy. I don't know what to do with Uncle Cheech.
No, he's living the life.
Oh, he is. So I got to tell you, Jimmy, I'm going to play a little video. You weren't digging this. You were digging the Pro Bowl competition, the skills competition, the game. I got to tell you, I didn't watch much of it. I'm probably just like you, but there was more physicality in the flag football game than there was at the last year's game.
I think somebody got hurt in the Pro Bowl. Somebody busted their toe up or something like that. But the thing is this, people, what they do, they don't take it for what it is, right? So everybody's expecting, well, they're not going to hit. That's flag football. The NHL All-Star game was Saturday. Oh, nobody's hitting. They're just taking, wrist shots. What do you expect? You're getting the best players in the game together to go out there and show off. That's all it is. And that's all it's supposed to be. People are making it out like it's supposed to be legitimate competition. I mean, they're trying to win, But they can't go full bore. Nobody's going to get hurt. Nobody's
No.
going to lay anybody out.
It-
Unless you're Pete Rose, Ray
Yeah,
Fosse.
no, those days are over. I mean, the problem, and Josh Jacobs got in a lot of trouble for dogging the Pro Bowl,
Yeah.
but he's 100% right. They shouldn't even waste their time with it. I like the skills competition, but they need to do it in Hawaii. I mean, when you're talking, I mean, look at the quarterbacks that were there for the AFC. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, you could say, all right, not a terrible pick. He deserved it. I mean, he was an alternate. You had the Ravens quarterback Hundley. He had 2 touchdowns this year, played in 4 games.
Yeah.
He was on the Pro Bowl roster. It's just it's not the same. It's waste of time. I think if you kept it in Hawaii where it's more of a vacation, I think more players would not back out of it. And I think they need to go back to doing it after the Super Bowl. And that way, you got it was always a cool thing. You had the Super Bowl champion team there with all their players. And it was kind of like, it made for a decent story to make you watch something. But it's really, it was unwatchable. Some of the games and competitions they did wasn't bad. I mean, they try and make it fun, but they must have been giving away tickets because there was a lot of people there, but you could hear a pin drop. It wasn't a excited crowd, but Vegas might have been unloading some tickets or paying people to go in there to make it look decent.
See, I disagree. I think I like having it in between championship and Super Bowl week. I do agree they can go to Hawaii. Why can't they go to Hawaii, even if it's in the middle? I think it keeps people engaged. I think when it was after the Super Bowl, nobody really cared. And again, I take it for what it's worth. Some of the bet, and okay, maybe not all the best players, but a lot of the best players in the league getting together, doing what they got to do. They're all in one place, and that's kind of what gets the crowd going. And I saw a lot of people, kind of agreeing with you for both the NFL, the Pro Bowl and the NHL All-Star game, which again, both the same weekend, saying this sucks, this is stupid. That's all you saw on Twitter. Like 90% of the people I saw in there dogging both those games. Again, what do you do? You got to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. No, it was, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's a moneymaker for them. I mean, maybe I've been to one Pro Bowl. It was a few years ago when Tank Lawrence got, he gave me tickets to a Pro Bowl after, my one video. And then he retweeted it. So I took my son. It was raining, so it wasn't the best. But we were there and my kid was there, and the players weren't very interactive. Von Miller, Andrew Luck, and a couple other guys, they sat and signed for all the kids, and my kid was there. But I mean, most of your guys just walked right by. I mean, it was just and you think it'd be more of a relaxed atmosphere where they'd be more interactive with the kids or something like that. But it was just almost treated like another game or whatever. So I think if you had a little bit more of that, maybe it would be intriguing and be fun. Maybe the practices are like that. Like I said, I just went to the game, but they should either do away with it, or me personally, I would have it after the season, like the old days in Hawaii, to make it worthwhile trip. And then again, to me, it was always fun. Now, the Cowboys were within the Super Bowl when I was watching, so it was always fun to see the Cowboys there, Super Bowl champions. And then you had the 49ers, the losing team, you had this and that. So it made, like I said, it made for some entertainment. Here, there's just no entertainment value unless you got nothing. And I mean nothing on. I don't know why the hell you'd watch.
But again, I'll disagree with you. I will agree with you on one thing, though. If they're going to go out and
with me, man. No,
but the thing is this: they should be signing autograph. That's where it should be more, fan interactive. I take it back. The NHL skills competition was down in Fort Lauderdale. They went out on the beach. They had they had Sidney Crosby. They had Austin Matthews like on a dunk thing where the guys were ripping wrist shots, knocking over surfboards, they come up with stupid shit to do, but it was funny. You didn't see these guys dunked. So it was funny, and they went along with it. And you gotta, I'm sorry, you take it for what it is and you take it for what it's worth. And again, I do say, get it to Hawaii. I say, keep it in between conference and Super Bowl, but the players really should be more interactive. You're saying they really didn't do much or interact with the people. That's silly, because that's what that weekend's all about. It's
Yeah,
not a
I mean, they
real.
didn't care. I mean, again,
Yeah.
it was a little rainy, so again, I don't hold mine as the end all be all experience. That was just for me. I would never do it again. It just wasn't worth it. We ended up leaving. It was raining. We didn't left and whatever else. So no, I mean, but yeah, it was a competition. I would like old school, the kayaking, the relay, the obstacle course. Let's have some of that.
Yes.
That'd be a lot of fun. But I will say, in what I saw for the game, that flag game, it was more. It seemed to be more physical. I think Jalen Ramsey laid out Tyreek Hill. I think they ran into each other.
Yeah. It was incidental, but
There was a little. At least you saw some of them more physical than you see in the NFL games today. So, but anyway,
right.
so it just kind of when you see the Pro Bowl, it kind of marks the end of it. But of course, with we do have the one game left. We talked about the Super Bowl. One other topic, and I'm gonna lean on your expertise. But it made a lot of news in Dallas, of course.
Yeah.
Is Kyrie Irving getting traded to the Mavericks. I mean, what's your initial thoughts on it? I know he's a polarizing. I don't follow a lot of the basketball stuff, but man, there's people with a lot of opinions about Kyrie Irving. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
sure all the details of it, but he's definitely a polarizing player in the NBA.
Well, here's the thing with Kyrie Irving. First of all, I saw a lot of people. As a matter of fact, Jay Tuck. I saw Kelly Kane. They're concerned. They were saying, "Well, man, how is him and Luka going to share the ball in Dallas?" To me, it has nothing to do with that. He is, and I'm being very honest. He's somebody who really needs he needs to address his mental health. The guy says and does bizarre things. He's a cancer to the locker room. The Nets team, Brooklyn's playing great. Why would you want to leave? They're playing so well. I don't necessarily worry about him and Luka getting along. I worry about him just being a cancer in the locker room. And not for nothing, I think he's missed like half the games over the last 4 seasons. I think he's played maybe 150, 160 games in the last 4 seasons. That's 40 games a season. So that means he's missing half the season. So, but that's the thing with him. Talented player. I think he's
He still
averaging.
got skills. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember. I mean, that last I remember of Kyrie Irving was with the Cavaliers and LeBron James. When they won the championship. So,
Well, but the funny part is the big, thought process. And you know what? I'll take that any day of the week, Ultra Cowboy. You bring Luka to New York. I love it.
he's saying the teammates love Kyrie. So now we got a little argument here.
Well, the funny part is I don't think they love him. I mean, the guy's a cancer in the locker room, and not for nothing. The thought was that he was going to go to L.A. and play with with LeBron James, and Ty, who's the owner of the Nets, he purposely didn't trade him there because he wanted to be an a-hole to him, because that's how much he did not like him and all the antics they've been dealing with him in Brooklyn. So, that's just that's what I'm thinking. I don't see him being an asset. He'll play well for you. Give him a month and watch how quick things digress in that locker room. I think the
Wow,
Mavericks are in 5th or 6th place in the conference right now, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
gonna
think it's a
be.
good move.
Well, I don't know. I know that the people in the chat are saying that Kyrie is not a cancer in the locker room. It's all see Ultra Cowboy all talk highly of Kyrie. Kyrie wanted out of New York City. He hated the vaccine
He
mandate.
did, but that's one thing in the midst of other things that he was pissed off about or not happy about, that he was bitching about and always talking noise. And he was always in the news over. I'm not getting into I'm not getting into that social aspect of the vaccine, but I'm saying that amongst other things, there's problems and headaches he was causing in the locker room.
Well, I mean, as a Floridian, I'll say, someone from the South, I don't blame him for wanting to get out of New York City. I want to get out of New York City if I was there. So maybe that's what he's been doing. But take the basketball aspect on the court. So does this make Dallas a better team? Or do you think this is going to, because, Dallas, didn't they make it to the Western Finals last season?
Yes, they made it deep last year. And here's the thing, though. If he keeps his head on straight, yes, it makes a huge difference. Him and Luka, they'll look at. They both want the rock. They're gonna get it. They're gonna get their time they're going to get their time with The Rock. But my thing is this: if he keeps his head on straight, that's huge, right? But I don't see it. He always falls off the wagon. There's always something. And again, I think that he really needs to seek mental help. And I'm not being an a-hole. I'm being very serious. The man is so talented. But if he keeps his head on straight, that is a huge pickup for Dallas.
That's a huge pickup.
Time will tell.
What's the? I mean, I'm new to basketball, so you guys gotta, I casually follow it. Is the West, is it wide open, or is there pretty much,
Close.
or is it dominant team like Golden State or someone, and that's pretty much it?
Nuggets, Sacramento, Memphis. Those are your good teams in the West. The East is a real powerhouse.
So the East is where it's at, and the West is kind of, you got a couple teams there. So this could be a move that could get ensure maybe the Mavericks to get into that finals. You got Memphis too. I just saw something.
Memphis. But now to Ultra Cowboys point, I wasn't a big fan. And hey, look, I can be wrong about Kyrie in this case. I was pissed. If you guys rewind back to March or April, whatever it was, I was pissed that we signed Brunson for that kind of money, and I was very, very wrong. The man is killing it. I love it. Not only is he playing well, he's got Randall hype again, and he's playing great. So, I was wrong about that. So maybe I'll be wrong about Kyrie. But
do they got
Kyrie
Booker, Boom, and Tesser, or no?
What's that?
Booker, Boom, and Tesser.
We got Booker, Boom, and Tesser. Two big guys in the backcourt, of course. That's right. So, I mean, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah. No, I think it was something that happened. So now I guess Durant, is he the next to go out of Brooklyn?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm waiting to see how this affects. Obviously, lost a talent, but a man who misses a lot of games. He's had his head on straight for most of this year, Kyrie Irving. I don't know how this is going to play out in the long run.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe a change for Kyrie motivates him and gets him back. Right, he was a baller. I mean, he won a he's won championships. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and how him and Luka, they mesh together.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's. And again, I'm no expert on the Mavericks, but it seems like it's just Luka and everyone else. So maybe this is get them some help, get something going, and see if they can make a run at it.
Hey, I'm happy about my Knicks. Knicks are kicking. I mean, the Knicks are playing very well. We beat in the last couple weeks, beat Boston, beat the 76ers. We're beating, Cleveland. We're beating teams that are powerhouses in the East. We're half a game behind Miami, and we actually beat Miami last week. Miami almost took it away from us in overtime, but we took care of our business. So you know what? If the Nets collapse, I can care less. Good for us.
And you'll reap all the benefits.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. So Doug says KD wants to go. KD wants to go to Phoenix. Hey, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere before the end of the season. Luka is this generation's Larry Bird. I think I think he's stronger than Larry Bird. He's big. Larry Bird, I mean, remember, Larry Bird was you ask anybody, they loved him and respected him, but he was an a-hole and talked a lot of shit, on the court. I love it. That's great. But I think Luka's just a big man who can handle his business. I mean, he's just strong and a hell of a player. It's going to be interesting to see how those two gel in Dallas.
Yeah. Well, and just to change it up a little bit, one of the other interesting things that we had Brad Johnson on the show. If you didn't see it, make sure you check it out. Funny dude. But this is near and dear to you. You got the Falcon, flag behind you. So we asked him who was the greatest athlete he played with. And, he's played a long career and he played in a lot of stops, Florida State, Minnesota, obviously in Dallas and so on, Washington. He said the two greatest athletes, he couldn't do one, so he did two. So one of them I want to ask you, of course, is near and dear. Deion Sanders. He said, hands down, it was him and Randy Moss. But, talk for a few minutes about Deion, because you're a huge Deion fan. You know the ins and outs. I mean, what made him so special in his area? You see how he's coaching, his motivation. But what made him so special in your eyes?
So consider this. I'm a Falcons fan because of Deion Sanders, right? So when I was a kid, this is back in '88. I was a Jets fan when I was a kid. Then Deion Sanders, he's a New York Yankee, and I'm like, man, this guy's pretty cool. He's like, doing his thing. He's writing dollar signs inside the batter's box and all the flash and the gold. So he comes to the Falcons. I'm like, I'm kind of digging that. And what he brought was the hype. He brought flash and like I said, gold. He gets off the plane. First thing he says is, welcome to Atlanta, Deion Sanders, primetime live. It's 5 minutes to 8, and the thrill is here. Later. The first words he says when he gets off the plane in Atlanta. So he just brought that spark, and it resonated with the team. He had Deion's Corner. He had a TV show, and he had guys like Ice Cube on. I mean, he was just it just brought a level of excitement to the Falcons that they never had before that.
Yeah.
And then we won.
Yeah.
He helped us win games. I mean, he did fumble his first kickoff return, but that's okay.
And then I think he scored a touchdown on that when he fumbled it or something, if my memory is right. But,
punt.
or return it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is just imagine what he would be like, that persona with the social media, if it was there in that time.
Yeah.
Biggie was then. Imagine what he would have been like then with, if he was that kind of player in this day and age with the
Well, think about it. He hyped himself without the social media. So I remember he had the bandanas and the hat that said, "You got to believe," right?
Yes.
What's wrong with that? You got to believe. And the NFL is fining him, $5-10 grand for, saying that he's promoting himself. You got to believe.
Yeah.
What kind of a bad message?
Well, they've been doing that crap. They
You
did
know?
it to Jim McMahon, back in the day with Pete Rozelle and all of that. But yeah, Deion Sanders is putting a hurting on, on recruiting. He's taking some guys, and that's why I wanted to touch on it, because he was, he played in the 80s, late 80s, in the 90s. And I mean, we're 25 years past, his that real era where he was at the top of his game, not the Washington years, the Ravens years. It was really the Atlanta, San Francisco, Dallas years, and then the Florida State years. And he still resonates with these kids, and they love him. And now he's in Colorado. And I tell you, man, I know you're not a college football fan. Watch Colorado. It may take him a couple years, but he's going to build something there. And I know that whole state of Colorado. I've got friends who live out there. I mean, that place is just buzzing. The team is historically was a powerhouse back in the day. Colorado was a perennial powerhouse in college football. They've fallen off the last 20 years or whatever it's been. But I mean, season tickets are way up. I mean, they probably don't have any more tickets available. But he's just an energy. He just breeds, they just everyone that energy, and you just want to be around them and motivating and So it's gonna be a fun show to see what happens to Colorado and see how Deion Sanders progresses, and he could really change some of the landscape of coaching, because a lot of these, you got this older generation of coaches. You get this young guy in here that's got some swag. He's doing all that, doing all the stuff. He could really change the game.
Well, I'm going to take one step back, and then I'm going to get to your point. So imagine Deion sticks around Atlanta longer, and imagine Brett Favre stays. Can you imagine what that would have looked like? Anyway, but I saw Primetime on Twitter saying, "I'm looking for the Florida boys. Jump on the portal." So he's looking. But that's the whole thing. And look at you and I are all about it. The hype and talking noise and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that as a coach, but in the same token, while he's hyping his guys up and talking noise and all this stuff, he holds them accountable, and he's not taking a lip from anybody.
No.
So I like that part too.
If you watched, he had a reality where they followed him or whatever. So I might have told the story once before, but I'll just tell again. So we're talking about Deion. So he had a player, I guess, that broke some rules, so he had all the team together, and he's like, hey, he goes, someone, they turned their back on their family. They broke the rules in the family, this and that. Or I'm probably paraphrasing, but he said, what do we need to do? It's up to you guys. Do we forgive them and bring them back to the family, or do we just got to let them go? And just, and so they told you could watch it. They told the story, and he ended up, the team voted. They didn't know who it was. If they did, they didn't say anything. Team voted that they got to let him go. And the dude was sitting right there while they're doing this. He told him out, sent him packing, told him to get his stuff and kicked him off the team. I think it was actually a former Miami
Really?
player that was when he was at Jackson State. But yeah, he does it. Alabama, to my man Ultra, Alabama's losing players. I'm going to tell you something, Ultra. Alabama is in trouble. This NIL, Alabama don't have the money that a lot of these schools have. So Alabama, I love Saban. I love him as a coach, and I loved everything he's done with Alabama. But if college football is going this way with the transfer portal and with all the NIL money, Alabama is going to be in a lot of trouble because they don't have the boosters that Auburn has. They don't have the boosters that Texas has, Texas A&M. A lot of these are USC, a lot of these other schools. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens. You see the playing field, Georgia, the money they got. The playing field is getting leveled in college football. The transfer portal's done that. I'm not a fan of it. I think a lot of this is going to hurt college football in the long run. I think the spirit of it is good as far as letting kids, if a coach leaves, letting the kids transfer out. But now they can just transfer on a whim. I don't know how good that's going to go to college football. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And you know me, I don't know much about college football, and I'm not going to pretend to, but just based on what I know of this thing, this whole portal and you're making it a little too easy for this sort of thing to happen. I think that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought for a second when you're talking about Deion Sanders and the family, I thought you were talking about maybe like a family that Uncle Cheech is part of. I thought you were talking about that kind of family. Got me nervous.
Oh, no. But yeah, I tell you, those 90s Cowboys, 49ers, I know we had our playoff run. We hadn't been too great to talk about. We've both been sitting there. That's why I always laugh about 49er fans. They all give a shit. They hadn't won a Super Bowl since 94. So what the hell are they talking about? It coming to us, talking noise. But those 90 years were great. And it's like I said, when we're in the playoffs, when we beat the 49ers, we won Super Bowls. We won Super Bowls after that. 49ers ain't winning no Super Bowl after beating us the last couple of years. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna get into more of that in the offseason. Brian Schottenheimer was named the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He's been on the staff. Mike McCarthy's probably calling he's going to call the plays. It's going to be kind of probably what you see with Andy Reid and Bieniemy and maybe some of these other guys where the coaches are calling plays, but it's in the context of the offense they want to run with the offensive coordinator overseeing it and things like that. More of a group effort. So I like the hire. I know people are just going to complain just because they got to complain about something. Schottenheimer's, he's been a coach for a long time. He's had success, or otherwise he wouldn't be around for so long. He's got great DNA. His father was a phenomenal coach, one of my favorite coaches. So I think it's a good. It's not a sexy hire. It's not a sexy hire, but it's a solid play. And I think Dallas. What I like about Dallas in some ways is they don't do the splash so much anymore. It's solid pickup, solid decisions, solid moves. And hopefully this will be another one. It really leaves no excuse now, right? More they said was the problem. So now it's going to be on McCarthy. And I think as a coach, that's all you want is let me control my own destiny. If you're going to put me in charge of the, keys to the, to the Ferrari, let me handle it,
Well, and you're right too, because the, it's not unusual in the NFL. I mean, our offensive coordinator is Dave Raggioni, but meanwhile, our coach, Smith, he was the one calling the plays. So it's not unusual,
it's not uncommon.
And you guys, Dallas needed that change. I mean, it's all you heard from Cowboys fans for the last couple of years. Is Kellen Moore. And then a lot of people ripping on Dak Prescott, but Kellen Moore, you're not going to give up on Dak Prescott because there's no way you're going to lose that kind of money. So I think it was the right move.
Yeah. No, I think it was a right move. And the funny thing with Prescott, it caused a little bit of a Twitter war. Someone had tweeted a 7-year comparison, first 7 years. It was Peyton Manning, and it was Dak Prescott. And at first glance, you say, geez, there must be nuts. But then when you really look at the numbers, you look at the wins, you look at the playoff record, you look at all of that stuff, it's like, wow, it's pretty similar. Now, everyone has this memory, and I will say in defense, whoever tweeted it, that took some heat for it. I will say in defense of that, Peyton Manning was considered a choke quarterback. Couldn't win in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Couldn't win. Always had the great record, right? They were always 13-3. I mean, you go back and look it up. My sticks in my head, and never could win the big game. That's going back to when he was at Tennessee. What did I mean, Steve Spurrier, he'd never beat Florida, and Steve Spurrier, I forgot what he said. He cracked on him about something about Tennessee and the Citrus Bowl, because that's where they always ended up playing, because they never could beat Florida. He could never beat Florida. So it was something that he dealt with for a long time. And then, once he got that, it seemed that once he got that Super Bowl, everything, the back half of his career, you look at his record against
Yeah.
Brady, you look at all that, everything else just kind of went. And I'm not saying Dak Prescott, I mean, geez, don't get me started. Dak Prescott, physically, tools, everything else, I wouldn't put him in the class of Peyton Manning as a quarterback. But I mean, there's something to be said where, sometimes it takes the guys, a little longer, but one championship and everything changes. Matt Stafford was considered a bum until he won a Super Bowl with the Rams, and then, they anoint him. So, the trouble is the Cowboys quarterbacks get a lot of hate. They're going to get hate. That's just the way it is. It comes with the job. It's like what I told a guy. I mean, that's just it's just the nature, because when the media is talking about it so much, because I had the discussion with somebody, and they said, "Yeah, Dak sucks. Dak sucks." I said, "Really look at it. I mean, look at his numbers. This year he was bad. There's no doubt about it. The interceptions were terrible. But if you go through all the other years, he never turned the ball over much. There's one thing you could say about him: he didn't turn the ball over much. He had a good completion percentage, this and that. So he was a good quarterback. But when you hear he sucks so much from ESPN and NFL Network and everything, you start to believe it. It's just like if you watch cable news. I don't care what you're affiliated with. If you watch the other side and sit and watch it for 8 hours, you're going to start agreeing with that side. God damn, they make a lot of sense, because they just keep telling you the same crap in your head for 8 hours straight. That's what ESPN does. And those guys make a living off it. Stephen A. Smith and Orlowski and all those guys. But you know it going into it. I know it, so I don't buy into it. I just laugh at it. But some people take what those guys say as the gospel, and it must be true. It must be true. They're just saying it for ratings and to suck you guys in, just like they do me sometimes, and to get you sucked into watching and get some ratings.
That's right. No, but you know what though? I'm a Yankees fan, so we deal with a lot of the same crap, with people ripping on us. But getting back to your point about quarterbacks, I've said it before. Dan Marino, in my opinion, the best in our generation. Didn't have a running game. He had some decent receivers, but he never brought home the hardware. So that's why you don't hear as much about him, right? Mm-hmm. I even look at Matt Ryan. If it wasn't for that dumbass Shanahan, we would have had a Super Bowl. He would have had a ring. He would have had the hardware. He would have been held in a different light than he is now, Matty Ice. But we blew the lead thanks to horrible high school play calling in the fourth quarter.
And Steve, I'm going off memory, so I don't have. You can correct me. You can look it up, and you can correct me. And I understand the Brady man, but he's not going against Brady's defense. He's going against another defense. He threw. And again, I could be wrong. I want to say he threw 5 picks in one playoff game. If Dak Prescott threw 5 picks in a playoff game, you tell me what people would say. They got Manning a little bit, but he didn't get much heat. He was gone the next day. No one talked about it. I could be wrong, but I want to say he threw 5 picks in one playoff game early on in his career. But like I said, we'll see.
I agree with Steve there.
What?
I agree with Steve on that one about Smith being a reptilian. I think I can't stand him. I really
the reptilians and the Biavians down in the St. Francis River with what's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Why? Riley Martin.
Riley Martin.
Yes. I always tell people I know a lot of stuff. They know if anyone knows where that comes from, I'll send you a T-shirt if you do. If you know what I was talking about. But
and I see on a side note, I see Ultra Cowboy talking about the Astros on the Yankees. We're going to talk baseball. Pitchers and catchers report in 11 days. We'll be talking baseball down the road.
No, they don't own the Yankees. I mean,
we don't cheat. We don't cheat to win. All right. We're not stealing signs. We're not wearing microphones here, and that's why we're not running off the field, hiding the jerseys.
Yeah.
We're going to talk baseball, just not tonight.
Yeah, no. I mean, we got sidetracked on some stuff, and this is kind of what we guys, we want you guys to interact. If the subject changes, we got sidetracked a little bit, and we talked a little bit more about Dallas, a little bit more about Dion, and you guys can see we free flow, and I think that's hopefully what you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure you like it. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. I know it's kind of end of football season, so you're like, what are we gonna do? A lot of people like to kind of, decompress and get away from it all. But we're gonna be here almost every Monday. Now we're gonna have to take a little time off in the summer. We're gonna have to take a little time off here and there. But we'll be here, and you guys will see it. So make sure you set the alerts so you know it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. We've got some interviews. I've got some stuff in the works for Dallas Cowboy fans. Jimmy, we're working on some stuff to get Jimmy going with maybe some baseball, maybe some professional wrestling legends, things like that. So we're going to have something for everyone. And that's what this channel is we're going to have different shows, and everyone's going to have their own kind of content. So if you like something, hey, you'll have it here. And if you love just all I want to do is listen to Cowboys and nothing else, you listen Thursday. If you say I want to listen to Cowboys with some baseball, some hockey, and some football and some wrestling, you come listen to me and Jimmy D on the flagship on Monday night. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And then Jimmy may dive off into maybe some hockey talk or something like that. We got a draft guru coming in. So we got a lot of stuff going on, Jimmy. I hope you're pumped up about this channel.
I'm ready. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. And you know what? To Mike's point, first of all, share with your friends, because we want to get people engaged. We want, people in the chat. Bring up, if you want to talk about something we're not talking about, bring it up. We might say, let's roll with it,
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had health talk at the beginning of this show, so you never know where we're going to go. I mean, come on. Now, I did have to.
Bears. Oh, Kelly Leak would take out the
Kelly Leak.
Holzer
he's going off on me.
You up. Let's see. Honestly, the Cowboys fan, I'm always looking for the draft every year. Sadly, I want a DB every year. Joey Porter would be nice, and I don't know if I don't think he'd be there, but we're going to bring in some draft people to, maybe there's some other hidden gems in the cornerback that we can get. I love Jay Ratliff, man. That was 7th round pick. That he was one of my favorites. I mean, he did the dirty work and he was nasty. I mean, a lot of those guys, we'd love to we need some of that. We need more of it. But what I don't want to happen, my man Neville Gallimore needs to stay on his team because I don't know. That's my favorite part of the intro. I mean, I don't know if you could do it any better with Neville Gallimore on the intro, Jimmy. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's home run, man. That's what I love.
Can't have traded or cut or anything like that.
Okay.
So anyway, we're gonna get into a lot of that. We're gonna get into a lot of that stuff. What was that? I missed it. I accidentally No. I mean, they never did. He was great. You know who else was good, but he wasn't a Cowboy, but he came over was Leroy Glover. He was just another one of those great guys, great D tackles on the Cowboys. So anyway, we could sit here and talk all night, but we got work to do. So
yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we ride out Jimmy D?
One last thing. And I know last week we had Bobby Hull. This week we got somebody different we got to pay homage to and rest in peace. I think probably the first American wrestler to do the moonsault, the brother of Randy Macho Man Savage, the son of Angelo Poffo. Rest in peace to the genius, to the poet, Leaping Lanny Poffo. The man died young, relatively speaking, and he was one of these health nuts. Like, he was a clean liver, and he died out of left field. He passed away the other day. Rest in peace, Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Yeah, my dad saw him at Hooters in Clearwater. Leaping Lanny Poffo, and I can't remember the other one, but the other wrestler. And it was maybe a year or two ago. But yeah, that's sad. Yeah, you hate to see it. We're all getting older. And like my dad always said, as you get older, you go to more funerals than you do weddings. And it's sad but true. So
yeah, you know what? And I know we're heading out, but Steve, to your point, they're gonna have the Cody Rhodes push with Roman Reigns. And you know what? They're pushing Sami Zayn, but we'll get to that again. We'll talk wrestling each week, but I know we're wrapping up here right about now.
Yeah. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate it. Make sure, hit that like, hit that subscribe, Check us out Thursday night. We got a live show at 9 p.m. We're going to have a lot of stuff in between, so make sure you set your alerts because you never know when something's going to happen. Also, check out Charlie Waters. Great interview with Charlie Waters. Talking about the history of the Cowboys. Talked a little bit about the current Cowboys. And again, all our other interviews that we've done. You can see it on the YouTube playlist under player interviews. We'll see you guys. Jimmy D, I'm signing off. You guys have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Gonna handle that business. We gotta get hype. Can you feel me? Now, can you dig it?